Good afternoon. Hope you've had a good time here in Fort Worth.
Howdy.
So we're both from Texas. I'm from West Texas, and just to tell you, it's 350 miles to the west, so it's a little 5-hour drive here. And if I was going to drive over to College Station, it'd be closer to 7 or 8 hours, I think. It's a nice little hike.
Yeah.
Everything's bigger in Texas. So, you think about universities, you think, oh, yeah, you collect tuition, that's right. But there's also parking and housing and hospitality and athletic events and conferences. And so it ends up, just at my university, there's 272 merchants, and there was a couple thousand transactions last year. I'm sorry, million.
And at Texas A&M University system, we have 20 universities and state agencies. We have nearly 450 merchant accounts, 2 million card transactions, and nearly $300 million in transactions. One of the benefits of working with a university is that we get a front row seat for cutting-edge research, and research including in artificial intelligence, which is why we're here today. So in 20 minutes or less, I'm afraid we can't make you experts in AI, sorry to say. So this is going to be a very high level, I'd say, from orbit view of AI in payment security. We're going to start with how AI has turbocharged payment security. Then we'll move over to how criminals are using AI tools to increase their threat to the payment ecosystem. And then we'll round things out with best practices.
So when you see how AI is affecting payment security, you see real-time risk assessments, things like fraud detection. You see pattern and anomaly detection, things like adaptive and self-learning defenses. And then you see continuous improvement, things like personalized payment experiences. By leveraging AI, you can do a lot to reduce financial losses, enhance customer trust, and stay ahead of ever-evolving fraud threats, all while maintaining a seamless user experience. And many of these techniques are not new, but with AI, the scale, speed, and complexity is reaching new heights.
So let's talk about some of the successes that we're seeing in AI-driven defense. I know we're coming back from lunch, and so I'm going to keep you on your toes by starting at the bottom of the list and working our way up. So starting with the bottom square, we have proactive adoption of emerging threats. So AI tools are continuously learning and improving so that they can proactively react to threats as they come in. Along with that, there is a overall reduction in risk due to the way that these tools are reacting and reducing these threats. We're also seeing that the behavioral biometrics are able to detect changes in behavior so that, detect behavior so that account takeovers can be stopped in real time. And then along with that, we have efficient integration with existing payment infrastructure. I would consider that a win because instead of having to rip out all your existing payment security infrastructure, so, many of these tools are able to be overlaid as an additional layer on your existing tools. So one of the benefits is of all of these tools in place is that we're seeing a reduction in fraud and chargebacks and overall lower false positives. So in addition to all the blocking of fraud, we're also seeing fewer false positives. I've seen reports of up to 70% fewer false positives. And so the result of that is increased payment conversion rates, which is a win for all of us.
So, as far as future trends in AI for payment security, it will be a frictionless, real-time payments at scale with minimal delays and higher levels of personalization. AI-powered security transitions from simple fraud detection to real-time, predictive, and adaptive defense, incorporating biometrics, blockchain, and advanced threat intelligence. This will keep payments safer and more efficient for everyone.
So far we've talked about how AI is all puppies and rainbows. So now let's take the story in a slightly darker direction and talk about how criminals are using AI to perpetrate crime. Christy's going to go into way more detail in the next slide, but in short, some of the things that we're seeing are deepfake identity theft using a combination of deepfake identities merged with real customer personal information to create new identities that are then used to create fraudulent accounts. Another thing that we're seeing is AI being used for phishing in new and not new ways, but in mass. We're seeing AI scrape social media and use all of this information for hyper-focused, hyper-targeted phishing attempts to extract information from their targets. And then finally, bot-driven fraud, AI tools, bots, deepfake voicemail messages. I'm sure we've all gotten those voicemail messages threatening some dire consequence for not calling the bank or the IRS or whatever back. And all of these things are driven at a speed and scale that we just hadn't experienced up to now.
While AI offers huge potential to improve payment security, organizations must be careful to manage the privacy, ethics, cost, transparency, and continual adaptation to maximize benefits and minimize inherent risk. The biggest threat in AI is, as far as payment fraud, is the use of generative AI to launch highly personalized, scalable, and adaptive social engineering and synthetic identity attacks. So basically, I can take my AI, I can point it to your social media, I can take publicly available data for you, and then I can use that so that to impersonate somebody so that you can then, I see you answering questions or having a deep fake video. Another threat is to create a synthetic identity and do it at scale. So this is a blend of real data and fabricated data so that I can build credit profiles, apply for financial services, and even create legitimate businesses. The blend of the data and attack can often pass many of our current detection mechanisms.
Okay, now it's story time. As payment professionals, you may have heard this or maybe not, but we'll share a case that just happened only last year. So last year, a finance professional at a UK engineering firm got yet another calendar invite for an online meeting. And so he joined this meeting, and the meeting included several other employees with the company, including their CFO. And throughout the course of this meeting, they discussed engineering projects and upcoming things that they needed to fund. And so by the end of the meeting, the CFO had instructed this finance professional to please make a series of transfers to some Hong Kong banks to fund some international engineering projects. So after the meeting, what did the guy do? He did what his boss said. He transferred $25 million to 5 Hong Kong-based bank accounts. And then only after the fact, when he was talking to colleagues in the office, that he found out the entire meeting, everyone in the meeting except for him, was a deep fake. So while this was an engineering company and not a payments company, I think it does underscore that what we say about PCI and that it's not just technology, it's people, processes, and technology. And so for something like this, we have to make sure that our people and our processes are well trained and well thought out and executed.
Which underscores the human factor. You know, so often people are our weakest link. So it's really important that people are given exposure to what AI might mean within the payment realm. And we should talk just a little bit about ethical and regulatory challenges. You know, as you go through and you look at the specifics, what you end up seeing is that there's a lot of the issues are combined that are both ethical and regulatory. For example, as far as bias and discrimination, transparency, privacy and security, and accountability, that falls actually both into ethical issues and also into regulatory issues. The thing about regulatory issues, though, is that it's developing them that takes a length of time. And not only that, but it's just reactive.
So let's talk about emerging threats. Luckily, we are not referring to Terminator 2 style AI-type attacks where a giant robot's going to come up and beat up someone and take their credit card, right? And we're not talking about the Matrix or something like that. You'll see here on the slide that most of the emerging threats that are listed are the same threats that we've been dealing with for the last 5 years. But as we've already said, AI is allowing these threats to continue and to grow at a scale and scope that we haven't experienced before. And so it's a game of playing catch up. Now, the one thing that we haven't spoken about yet is the one on the bottom left, the AI connectors or agents, AI agentic systems. And I understand that the council has recently released some information or a resource about that, or they're about to. The one thing that I just want to caution is that when you connect systems using an AI agent, it has great potential to make things more efficient and more accurate, but it also has the potential to connect systems in a way that makes them more vulnerable and increase your attack surface. So just be very mindful about how you employ these AI agents.
So really, as far as best practices for organizations, it falls into 3 buckets. As far as layered security, certainly use the technology, things like multi-factor authentication, firewalls, tokenization, end-to-end encryption. Protect as much as you can against data breaches at every single step of the payment process. AI-driven fraud detection enables real-time monitoring, behavioral analysis, and device fingerprinting. And when you can combine those things with the human review and adaptive authentication for high-risk cases, you can further strengthen your defense. When it comes to model training, you want to prioritize diverse, anonymized data sets to teach the AI systems, but you want them to detect both common threats and emerging threats. While privacy controls, such as differential privacy, reduces risks of personal data leaks. Feedback loops is also a really important part of building the model. You want the AI models to update themselves as new fraud signals and emerging payment patterns emerge. That's vital so that they can update themselves without manual intervention. And finally, there's regular updates. You know, organizations are expected to have frequent software patching, vulnerability scans, and compliance checks. But the proactive approach closes the loopholes that cybercriminals exploit leveraging the latest threat intelligence, and ensures ongoing reliability of payment platforms.
Oh.
So the key takeaway is AI is essential for modern payment security, but it's not foolproof. The payment industry is aggressively leveraging AI to combat fraud. The industry will have to change from its current reactive defenses to proactive, adaptive, and collaborative systems.
So it also requires vigilance and transparency. You need to understand how your AI tools have been trained, how they learn, how they adapt, where that information is coming from, and how to protect those systems upon implementation and going forward.
And finally, you just balance the technology with education and compliance.
All right.
So thank you very much. Appreciate your coming for extra credit.